It's Valentine's Day, and you must have seen or heard on the internet or blog posts that Valentine was or were beheaded by the emperor. Now, beheading is done with an axe, sword, knife, or machete, and now you could even see uploaded videos of beheadings on social media to create panic. Yes, I know, just thinking about the total separation of the head from the body is enough to get anyone scared. But do you know that even after beheading, people can remain conscious? There is still life left in the body for a few moments. Yes. Do you want to know the reason behind this? Well, watch on while I tell you what happened to Valentine or the Valentines after they were beheaded. What is decapitation? Decapitation or beheading is the total separation of the head from the body. Yes, all 26 muscles, all 4 major blood vessels, the spinal column, and most importantly, the spinal cord are severed completely. The exact cause of death, technically, in a decapitation involves this complete severing or cutting off of the spinal cord and rapid blood loss. There's another medical entity called internal decapitation, but that's another story for another day. And guess what? The ancient Greeks and Romans regarded it as a most honorable form of death. Yeah, they thought it was the most humane way of dying. Beheading, usually by the axe, was the customary method of executing traitors in England, and the Valentines got their own dose. Of course, this type of injury is invariably fatal to humans, and most other animals, that is most likely to cause death. Since our brains will have no oxygen passing through it, and our other organs cannot work properly. So, our bodies just cannot function. And although beheading is usually an act of murder or execution carried out with an axe, sword, knife, machete, guillotine, or chainsaw, did you know that a person can be beheaded accidentally as a result of an explosion, a car or an industrial accident, or some other violent injury? Hey, a person who wasn't properly administered execution by hanging can be beheaded. Medical research has shown that after a beheading, there is still activity in the brain for some seconds after the decapitation. Yep. If the headsman's or executioner's axe or the sword was sharp and his aim was precise, the decapitation was quick and as such presumed to be a relatively painless form of death. If, however, the instrument was blunt or the executioner was clumsy, repeated strokes might be required to sever the head, resulting in a prolonged and more painful death. History even tells us that the person to be executed was therefore even advised to give a gold coin to the headsman to ensure that he did his job with care, to give him a quick and painless death. Decapitation was thus quick and fatal. And when I say fatal, I mean most certainly likely to cause that death. And consciousness probably occurred within 10 seconds because there was no circulating blood containing oxygen. And brain death and irreversible brain damage occurred after about 3 to 6 minutes because, yes, no oxygen supply in there. There are many stories of extended persistence of human consciousness after decapitation, the so-called lucid decapitation or the wave of death. Yeah, stories abound that the decapitated head can even blink or change expression and even attempt to speak. A sort of death spasm. King Charles was said to have been seen to move his lips after beheading, and there are so many more tales of heads continuing to show facial expressions and even trying to talk after the beheading. But according to doctors, the brain cells, neurons, remain alive for some time, so the brain does remain active, but after a few seconds, these cells start dying and the brain also loses its life. Also, most doctors consider these facial movements as merely delayed reflexes or reflexive twitching rather than deliberate movements, since, of course, the brain deprivation of oxygen must cause almost immediate coma and death. So, if we apply the principles of physiology, the beheaded one should expect a brief period of awareness until the brain becomes starved of oxygen, and then consciousness would be lost within usually about 2 to 3 seconds, due of course to the rapid fall of blood flow within the brain. A number of animals, including snakes and turtles, have been known to survive for some time after being decapitated, as they have a slower metabolism and so their nervous systems can continue to function at some capacity for a limited time even after connection to the brain is lost. So, responding to any nearby stimulus, In addition, the bodies of chickens and turtles may continue to move temporarily after they're beheaded. Wow. There was once a chicken that, when decapitated for food, still lived. The farmer said that the chicken moved around normally and it was not dead. The chicken was kept alive for 1.5 more years by feeding and giving it water directly through the throat, since only the head was cut off. Why don't you search up Mike the Headless Chicken or Miracle Mike? Well, that's another story for another day. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed this video, you're sure to love this next one. So click and see you in the comment section. I'm Dr. Hadiza Marilia Suleiman. Love you. Bye.